All right, let's continue with the for loop journey. So in this lesson, what we're going to do is look at when I have a list of integers. So I have a list of numbers and you can see them 10, 13, 100, just some random numbers. And we're going to do some things. So we're going to create multiple loops. So one of the for loops is going to add 10 to each of these numbers. So what we're going to do then is go down underneath this comment where it says this loop will add 10 to each number. So don't forget with the for loop, we always start off with for, of course, for, and then we have to come up with a variable name. So a temporary variable name that kind of reflects, let's say, for instead of numbers, the singular format of that just makes sense as being either num or number is perfectly fine. It could be X, it could be Y, it could be I. It really, again, doesn't matter as long as you're consistent with that variable name being used later on. So I could say for number, and we're going to go in, of course, where is our list? And our list happens to be named numbers. Don't forget the colon, and then we're going to hit enter, and then we have that indentation that we need. So this is where we just take our variable, so the number as it iterates through. So don't forget how this works is that it goes through each value in the list. So it's going to iterate. And let's say the first number being 10, for example, in our list. And then it's what we want it to do is add 10 to that number. So to do that, all we have to do is use a plus equal sign. And then what we're going to do is put the number 10. So that will take the variable number, so 10, 13, 100, and so on each time when it's their turn, and they will be adding 10 to it. Well, then what we're going to want to do is, let's print our number now. Once it's been added to 10, we're going to want to print it. I could print number up above here, but if I did that, that would be the original number. And then that doesn't help me. What I want is the new number after 10 has been added. So let's try it. So 4, 2, and take a look. So 10 plus 10 is 20. 13 plus 10 is 23. 100 plus 10 is 110. So we can confirm that this has successfully added 10 to each item. Awesome. Okay, let's move on to the next one. We're going to now create a loop where we are going to subtract 1 from each number. So to help with this, just so we don't get distracted with our output, what I'm going to do is just highlight this, command / or control / on a Windows device, just to comment that out so it doesn't get distracting. And what we're going to do is create a for loop again, and we can actually just use the exact same variable. Even if I didn't comment out above, it doesn't really matter. It's not going to impact the other for loop. It's not going to impact the other. It's just in my console. I didn't want to have all these numbers listed. So what I could do is for, I'm going to say number again, in numbers. So just like we started off the previous one, but this time we're going to take our variable number and we're going to subtract 1. So to do that, instead of the plus equals, we go minus equals 1. Let's print our number and run. And there we go. So let's confirm. Let's go back up here. 10 take away 1 being 9. 13 take away 1 is 12. 100 take away 1 is 99, and so on. So there you go. We have it. Okay, so let's do the next list. And I'm actually going to prove at this time that I can have the other for loop there. And to do that, what I'm going to do is just divide these outside the loop. I'm just going to do a print, and I'm just going to do a bunch of, let's say, lines like that, just to separate between these numbers and for the next for loop. So I'm going to create my next for loop. And this time it says we're going to multiply each number by 3. All right, we can do that. So for number in numbers, so again, our temporary variable is number, which we can call anything we want. In numbers, which is the list, which we do have to be specific, we are now going to do number. And instead of adding an equal sign or subtracting equal sign, to multiply, what we need to use is the asterisk. The asterisk is the symbol for multiplication. All right, so what we're going to multiply equal and 3. Let's print that number and let's confirm that we have in fact multiplied each item in our list by 3. Let's do it. Oh, I just forgot here to put in quotation marks for my lines here. So let me just clean that up real quick. Happens to all of us. And let's do it. There we go. Okay, so those are the numbers from previously. So I'm going to ignore that underneath my line, but I just wanted to show you that even though we have the same variable name, so two different for loops, it does not impact each other. We can have as many for loops as we want in our program. Okay, so we have, let's take a look. So our first number was 10. We times it by 3, we do get 30. 13 times 3 does give you 39, and 100 times 3 does give you 300, and so on and so on. Awesome. Okay, we have one last one. So I'm going to comment out this now because I think I've made that point. So I'm just going to comment that out and then comment this out. Last one. We are going to square each number. So in this case, I'm going to do still the same thing for number and numbers. Colon, and then I'm going to go number, but this time instead of the equal sign, all I'm going to do is use two asterisks. And two asterisks indicate an exponent. So if I wanted it to be cubed right now, so to the exponent of 3, I would just put a 3. But since I'm squaring, I'm going to put a 2. Let's print our number, and let's see what we end up getting. So if we go print number, and we're going to run our program, what we should see is that everything has been now to the exponent of 2. So let's take a look. So that did not work. Oh, I know why. Because we didn't save it to a variable. So I need to either save it to a variable, or I can choose to have my print right here, right now. So the output of the number being squared will now be printed. Okay, so let me just quickly run that. And there you go. Now we have it. So 10 squared, 13 squared, 100 squared, and so on. So let me just quickly show you what I meant by why it didn't work before. We could have saved as a variable. So what I could have done is I could have said new number, something like that, or squared number. That would probably make more sense as well. And I could have had it like that and then print new number. So that's an alternative way rather than just doing print right away, but it really depends on what you're going to do with your variable. If you don't need it after the fact, then creating a variable for that is not necessary. You can just do the print function, but either way, you'll get it. So let's take a look, because this time we saved it to a variable and then we ran it, and there's our values. Okay, so that we just printed our new numbers and we're good to go. All right, so there you go. That is video 2 on using our for loop.